Hey, it's Ethan Skolnick for 5 on the Floor on the 5 Reasons Sports Network YouTube channel. We're here at Miami Heat Media Day where we've been conducting interviews with various players. Those will be posted here on the YouTube feed as well as the 5 on the Floor podcast. But also got a chance to hear from Erik Spoelstra, Norm Powell, Tyler Herro, Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo at the podium. And we're trying to come up with one takeaway here, but there seems to be a few. I think the number one, Alex, I'm here with Alex Salido from the Tropical Blanket, is they're leaning into youth. We knew that. Average age of the rotation, we're projecting to be around 26. There's no real, we're going to win a championship. We're one of those teams. We're a contender. Nobody's really saying that, but they're talking about possibilities. Possibilities and growth, opportunities for this team. A reset after what happened against Cleveland, losing the last 2 games by 92 points last season. But there's also this talk about playing a little differently, Alex, and I just want to know, do you believe it? Because we sat here with Jaime Jaquez, with Niko Jovic, Pelle Larsson. Everybody talks about playing fast. Mm-hmm. This team never plays fast. Mm-hmm. But the personnel now, the fact that they don't have a lot of one-on-one options, they don't have Tyler Herro for the first month of the season. He's rolling around here in a scooter. They have to play fast, don't they?
I guess it depends on what type of fast you're talking about. So, I believe that that's what they should be doing, right? I'm sure we'll be talking plenty throughout the season as far as, because of what you're talking about, that they don't have just one guy that you give the ball to do everything. They have different, a multitude of threats, right? I think, you get to that ball movement, player movement heavy offense, I think that's where they can find the best version of themselves offensively. But I think that's easier said than done. I think, if you can emphasize quick decision-making, quick passes in the half-court offense, I think that'll be better for them. What I don't really believe is that they'll be faster in transition. Now, it might happen, I don't give it a 0% chance, but I just, you always kind of hear that every year. Even last season, that wasn't necessarily an emphasis at Media Day, but then in preseason, if you remember, there was this weird stretch there where, their ball movement was, at its insanely high level. They were trying to run all this 5-out stuff, and they were really, they were getting to their actions, I think, a little bit quicker, and guys were really moving the ball. And I feel like a lot of that stuff kind of went out the door when things got tough early on in the season, with guys like Bam struggling and just all the stuff going on. It feels like all of that went out the door, including they had a weird stretch there in last preseason where they were getting a whole ton, a lot of steals, right? So I'm always a little bit skeptical when it comes to stuff being said at Media Day, especially when it comes to playing in transition, because it's never really one of the Heat's strengths. But to be fair, their transition offense by the numbers was a lot better in the second half of last season, and they're going to need as many easy points as they can get. So I do believe that they should be doing that. Now, whether they actually will, I don't know.
Some of the other things that came out of today, first thing, Tyler Herro did speak to the media, as we mentioned, prior to the other interviews starting, and he said 8 to 12 weeks.
Yep.
And it's been a week.
Said he told Spo 6 weeks.
He told Spo 6 weeks. We had originally heard it could be up to 12 weeks. The team released 8 weeks. Now, again, depending on how you project this, or if it's from the time of the surgery, or from the time he gets back on the court but isn't ready to play, it could be more than a month into the season before we see him. They're going to have to make some adjustments. One of the things we talked to Niko Jovic about was maybe the ball in his hands a little bit more. You've gotten into some of that, and again, some of that comes through playing with transition. But I think one of the clear things here, and I think Erik Spoelstra is going to hammer this as they go up to training camp at FAU, is that they're going to lean into their defense early. And we talked to Drew Smith. We're anxious to put that podcast up on the feed because he feels like he's going to be able to contribute here fairly soon. They've got Davion Mitchell back. Andrew Wiggins seems to be, as much as Andrew Wiggins can be, energized or at least refreshed, happier to be here maybe than he seemed last season. And with Bam Adebayo, they have a core of a defense there. So to me, that's what this is about. I think it's getting stops and then getting out in transition a little bit more, not being forced, bogged down in the offense. Maybe it's not as much fast breaks, but it's more early offense.
Yes,
that kind of thing. Do you think Spo will emphasize that?
I think so. I feel like that's kind of what we've heard from everybody, and it just makes so much sense. It was interesting to hear Spo talk about how they spent the last couple of months game planning for this team, and especially after getting to hear Tyler today. Not only that was very interesting what you mentioned when he said 8 to 12 weeks. It felt like a little bit of a giveaway that it's optimistically 8, but perhaps it could go up to 12, which that's a huge difference. Another month lost of Tyler Herro would make a big difference. But also just hearing Spo talk about game planning for this, he obviously was aware of everything going on with Tyler, because Tyler said it's been happening since mid-July or so, which is another kind of
June,
interesting.
actually.
Oh, he said June.
I think it was June. Yeah, it might have been actually June, where he said he just saw the pinch that he hadn't felt before, and they found out there's an extra bone in his ankle.
Yeah.
And they had to remove that bone. They were hoping that this would clear up, but it didn't clear up.
Yeah, I don't know how he's gonna come back from that. It's not your typical, like, I guess, procedure that you hear about where a guy's getting an actual bone removed, or like, I guess it wasn't supposed to be there. I don't
Right.
I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, I don't know, man, but like, it seems like it's a very unusual thing, so it's almost a little bit hard to project, and I guess that's why he, maybe they're going internally, or at least it was internal before he put it out today, with that sort of time frame of 8 to 12 weeks. I don't know how he's going to come back from it, even though I do have high expectations for him to continue where he was last season. But man, they have a really tough early season schedule, and now the burden is going to be on Norm and all the other guys, as we've heard about today, like to take on, everybody each takes on a piece of the pie, and I think that's what we're going to be seeing. And I guess it all just depends now on how quickly they can adjust to things and put together a coherent team on both ends of the floor without Tyler.
And the other thing you mentioned, Norm Powell, he was pretty clear today. He feels like he can take on a bigger role than people have assumed he could in the past. And he got an opportunity at age 31 this season. Similar thing. Last year, Kawhi was missing. This year, Tyler's missing a core scorer, and he's got to make up for that. But he said his goals are, he wants to make an all-star team, and he wants to get out of the play-in. So would we all like to get out of the play-in.
Aspirations for a long playoff run, he said.
Well, we'd have that too. It'd be a lot of podcasts. All right, for Alex Toledo, I'm Ethan Skolnick. Look for more coverage here on the YouTube channel, longer episodes and such, and also subscribe to 5 on the Floor.